That's the White House. It's still there. You know, we just saw that about 7 minutes ago, and in a shocking development, it is still there. Welcome back, everybody, to American Sunrise. There wasn't much thought behind that ad-lib, but then again, it's an ad-lib by me, so do the math. Welcome back. By the way, join us on YouTube, X, Rumble, Getter. Am I missing stuff? It's streaming everywhere, basically. Samsung TV, Samsung Plus, Pluto. I'm going to keep going. Roku. Anyhow, you get the idea. We're everywhere. Sorry, liberal media. Actually, sorry, not sorry. All right, a synagogue attack in the UK has left 2 members of Manchester's Jewish community dead. The incident has been declared a terror attack, and 2 others now under arrest. The attack occurred outside a synagogue on Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the Jewish calendar. Police say the suspected attacker rammed a car into worshipers and carried out a stabbing attack before being shot dead by officers. Let's go ahead and bring in T. Bates and Gina to discuss this more. You know, back in June, Gina, the FBI and Homeland Security actually put an elevated risk for the Jewish community here in the United States, actually. So we're talking about the UK here, but I mean, this is worldwide. And honestly, let me think, Gina, I don't know. I've read my Bible. I think this has been worldwide since, I don't know, Genesis. Just off the top of my head there.
Yeah,
it's been going on since forever.
Yeah, absolutely. And the really horrific news that came out this morning is that I believe it was one of the police officers that ended up accidentally shooting the congregant there. So let's go, though, to the latest information. It is from former Homeland Security Advisor and President of Redland Strategies, Michael Balboni. Michael, good morning.
Good morning.
Your thoughts and the latest updates on what we saw in the UK this week. And yeah, we should point out that back in June of this year, the FBI and Department of Homeland Security warned of this elevated threat that David's telling us about was facing the Jewish community right here in the U.S. So security has become a primary importance in most Jewish synagogues.
The United Kingdom has raised their threat level and has provided additional protections for all religious gatherings, specifically Jewish gatherings. And as you mentioned beforehand, it was the holiest day of the year. The same thing has gone on here in New York and around the country. We've seen a spike, obviously, not only in anti-Semitic activities, but also just for religious activities, attacks on the Mormon community, attacks on various Catholic communities as well. So what we're concerned about, obviously, is that there is something else going on here where the attackers have decided, or not. I shouldn't say the attackers as a group. They're not a group. These are individuals who decide to get engaged and commit an act of terrorism. So the question is, what is the religious draw here right now? And that's what the intel units are working on right now to try to decide who is possibly a potential attacker.
So to piggyback on that, it seems to me that there may be a threat, not just in England, but we've seen it domestically as well, on houses of faith in general. I mean, recently we've had several attacks on Christian worship centers, on Christian churches and that kind of thing in this country. What can be done? What should the government, if anything, be doing, in your opinion, to try to raise awareness, if you will, to try to help safeguard all houses of worship, be they synagogues, churches, whatever?
So 24 years ago, after the 9/11 attacks, the federal government partnered with various states to create grant programs for Homeland Security. And they were designed to prevent another mass attack like the ones on 9/11. And in 24 years, obviously, the threat has evolved. There are 2 main grant programs, the Urban Area Security Initiative and the Homeland Security Grant Program. What they don't do enough of is to protect soft targets. And obviously, houses of worship are soft targets. And so I've been advocating that the Department of Homeland Security evolve their grant program to actually give monies so you can harden these different facilities. There's a lot of things you can do there in terms of like setbacks and bollards and door cameras. There are lots of things you can do. And we haven't been able to do that because the money has not been there. Now, the question becomes, do you take your eye off the larger threat? You don't. But this is an evolution that we need in terms of the grant program and the support for the security.
Yeah. Hey, Michael, before we let you go, there's another big story out there. The Trump administration says the U.S. is now in armed conflict with drug cartels. You know, they've got 4 boats blown out of the water now. Trump is warning, quote, this is a quote, if you try to poison our people, we'll blow you out of existence. So what do you think is going on here besides what we see on our screen? I mean, is this laying the groundwork for something bigger? This seems like it can it's already escalated, but it can go much faster, much quicker.
The president campaigned on the need to stop the fentanyl threat that is the United States' #1 drug threat. And so he closed the border, and he's decided that he would go after the cartels. Obviously, big discussions with Mexico, but now this is more towards Venezuela. And there's a big question as to whether or not you can utilize military force without the authorization of Congress. That's going to be a very important debate that's going to happen pretty soon, as soon as they figure out the budget issue. And so I think that what the president is saying is, I campaigned on stopping the fentanyl threat. I'm going to use every weapon and tool we have to do that. And this is just a part of that campaign.
Yeah, well, he's going to definitely, you know, it's one thing to do limited strikes. It's another thing if it's a constant barrage, if you will, and then Congress is going to raise a stink about it for sure. Well, Michael, thank you for being here. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
All right. Coming up, a new study suggests a nasty habit may be linked to a heightened psychosis risk. We're going to break that down and what it means for mental health and brain activity. You're going to want to warn your kids about this one. Stay with us, everybody, on a Friday.